Hey everybody, good afternoon and welcome to an exciting session today. Use AI to create engaging interactive videos. My name is Ryan Larson. I'm actually subbing in for Taylor Ripley, and she hopes that she will be back with you all soon. But I'm subbing in today just to talk a little bit about using interactive video and showing you all some of our coolest AI features within interactive video. Um, we have an hour. I want to show you everything I possibly can in this hour to get you all excited about interactive video. So let's start out our journey right here. Here's our agenda today. I'm going to talk a little bit about what exactly is interactive video, talk a little bit about why you should use interactive video. I'm then going to lean into one of WeVideo's latest features, which is our instructional design studio called Interactive Video. And we're going to show you how to create projects using that interactive video throughout our session today. When after we're done with that interactive or instructional design studio, I'm then going to talk a little bit about the learner experience and how you can continue to amplify that learner experience through WeVideo. And do some of the fun things like monitor the results. And also, we'll give you some highlights of some other ways you can stay in the loop at WeVideo. So let's get started with what is interactivity. And so at its heart, interactivity empowers instructors and teachers to make interactive videos which can integrate in with a variety of video hosts, so Vimeo, YouTube, and even some of your own WeVideo creations. Some of the great things about interactive video is the fact that you can assess the learning that is happening in real time with your videos as well. You get to create an engaging learning experience that can be reused from semester to semester or year to year. Um, and as well can be reviewed by your students, which is super awesome. Some of the ways when you stream a video through our interactive video player, there are a few different ways that we can actually deploy this video to our students. And so there we can deploy it asynchronously, so we can use an asynchronous interactive video. We can also um, have our students create their own interactive video. We can also deploy it in a playlist, which is really great, which is a really great way to create a comprehensive learning experience. Uh, WeVideo Interactivity also has some ways of delivering that content synchronously as well. And so you can deploy it in a live broadcast. So I can stand in my classroom, I can move around, we can watch an interactive video together. My students can answer the questions and engage in some of my interactivity. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can deploy an interactive video. Today, I'm going to primarily be focusing on the self-paced bulb or interactive video when we're going through our tutorial today. So I'm going to show you how to build a self-paced interactive video. And then from there, I'm going to show you how you can assign that to your learners. The general workflow for interactive video, it looks like this. So I have a video. It could be a WeVideo creation, a Vimeo video, or even a YouTube video. Then I can use our interactions and as a layer on top of that video. So I can pull from any of our 9 different interaction types. I can use AI Assist for any WeVideo videos, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how to use that today. And then finally, we can add those interactions in the video, make it more engaging for our students, and then assign it to those learners to take at their own time and place. And so it's really just a 3-step flow. I'm going to show you some of the ways you can find how to make interactive videos in your platform. I know a lot of you all are here today for our session title, right? Creating AI interactive engagements. And so what are AI interactions? Well, to start, WeVideo really wanted to think about how we use AI in a way that's going to increase learner outcomes. And so one of the ways that we did that is we actually incorporated the Bloom's taxonomy into our platform. And so Here you can see Bloom's taxonomy on the bottom right, and on the top left, you can see our interactions that we can generate with AI. And so we can actually generate different questions based upon complexity within our platform. So if I want a question, just to remember that lower level Bloom's strategy, I can use that in the platform. If I want, say, a discussion question that has students analyze the content that is in the video, I can do that right here within the platform. And so we really had that goal to encourage those higher learning, the higher order thinking skills within the classroom, and building that within our video player. And I'm really excited to show you, as a former educator, how we incorporated Bloom's taxonomy within our AI generated tool, and show you a little bit about how we're thinking about aligning it to the practices within your classroom and having better learner outcomes. So that's a little bit of our AI generation tool. I'm going to show you how, again, to do it at specific times in the video, or even have a whole video's worth of generated or interactions for you. Now we can go a little bit more into some of the why behind that interactive video. So I know that your learners, they engage with videos all the time. It is the era that our students live in. But there's actually some benefits for not only using video, but using interactive video in your classroom. And so some of the things that I like is, interactive video is 66% more engaging, because learners are able to go and re-watch the video, and they're also seeing your questions and insights on the video. It's 32% more memorable than just watching, say, a static video without interactivity. Learners generally engage with the video longer. We see that learners have generally a 44% longer viewing time when they're inside our interactive video platform. And then finally, we're also seeing gains in learner knowledge retention, as well as learners completing the tasks. And so WeVideo interactivity is a really great way to increase learner engagement, but also retention while using video. And so those are some of the reasons, the stats behind why, but here's some other reasons for when you take interactive video into your own classrooms. I like to start here. This is what I like to call my 3 pillars of interactive video. So first and foremost, we have accountability. WeVideo interactivity out of the box disables fast forwarding and skipping for your learners. And so you're going to know exactly what your learners have watched. As well, we have what we call an active tab player. So learners can't just put this in a new tab and then go play their game or go focus on something else while a video is watching. They actually have to be active in the tab for that video to play all the way through. And so that's one of the things I like, is that active tab player, because I know that my learners, when they've completed the video, they've actually had to sit and watch the entire video. As a former educator, it's all about retaining that content, all about connecting with that content. And interactivity has some great ways that you can involve your learners in that. Each and every interactive video has what we call an exportable worksheet that can be attached to it. So you can actually download an export of the learner's results, and the learners can do that if you enable it as well. Every interactive video also has what we call a built-in notepad. And so learners can go to the interactive video, and then inside that video, they can take timestamp notes to reflect upon what they are learning in that video. And that's put into every single interactive video. You don't even have to toggle anything on. It is ready to go for you. Some other key reasons why we should use interactive video. It's also aligned with accessibility in mind. So we have inside the video, we have interactive and searchable transcripts, as well as options for closed captioning. WeVideo interactivity is also screen readable compatible. So if your students use screen readers for any type, it can work with interactive video and give learners that edge on some of the content that's created on the screen. And so these are some of the pillars that I like to think about for why interactive video and why we should continue or why we should choose interactive video in our plethora of choices as a teacher. Let's now go in and talk a little bit about what your learners are going to experience from their end. So to start, I'm going to start here with the skills practice, and this is what I like to call a typical homework bulb. So in this bulb, this teacher just created a simple problem. So they created a problem, they did a voiceover. I love it just because it uses WeVideo screen recording to go in and actually, you can go in, you can solve the problem for your learners or work through the problem with your learners. One of the nice things about this is you can give your learners this particular bulb, um, and they can see the demonstration and then work on the practice problems themselves. So you'll see right here, there's a PDF that is linked inside that bulb. And so that is just the instructor or teacher actually just linking in their practice problem set, linking in their homework problem set into the interaction. And then here on the right, what I like to point out is you can have that auto graded for you. So not only can you give your learners the brief experience of, hey, here's how we work through this problem, but then at the very end of the bulb, you can have them practice those problems and have it auto graded for you inside of the problem. And so there, it gave the learners some feedback of what they got correct and incorrect. It's going to give me that feedback. So let's say I'm going to go to an exit ticket, or this is the homework for the next day. This is going to inform me as the teacher, like, hey, my students were performing like this. Maybe I should cover this before maybe releasing an exit ticket or before we get into our next lesson for the day. So it's really great. Last little highlight on this practice problem set, you'll notice this video is super short. It is less than a minute of instruction and less than a minute for developing that specific asset. And so these are things that you're already doing. So imagine just recording, maybe you doing something on the whiteboard, or you reading part of an article and asking a question for our learners, or thinking aloud. The learning can happen, and those small engagements can be really huge for your learners as they go through and work through that skill practice. This next example is what I like to call an interactive mini lesson. And inside this interactive mini lesson, you're going to notice that there not only is the addition of framing for this interactive video. So here I can see a typical kind of lesson objective and a description of what's going to happen within this video. But as I go through this particular mini lesson, there's going to be formative assessments that my learners are going to take. And so one of the nice things about interactive video is you can highlight and memorialize the key moments and aspects for your learners. So right here on the left, you see all of these vocabulary words. I was an ELA teacher, and I know how important academic vocabulary and domain-specific vocabulary is to learning the concepts and the greater journey of skills assessment. Here is a great way to scaffold in maybe some of those domain-specific words into the lesson. And so here I have this list of vocabulary words. My learners can then take those vocabulary words. They can use, say, the built-in notepad. So here they're actually copying in notes into their notepad where they'll be able to go back and see later. So it can make it resourceful. I'm going to show you a little bit of how to build in that pause interaction for those notes. Then as we're going through the video, I'm skipping a little bit ahead, but just note again, like out of the box, like learners will have to watch this fast forwarding will be disabled. But right here, learners have a checkpoint. And in this checkpoint, we have simple multiple choice questions. I can generate all these questions with an AI generated interaction if I would like. After we generated those questions here, we have another checkpoint right here. Here's a free response question. So we can offer more open-ended questions for our learners. This is timestamped, so you'll notice it's at 2 minutes and 22 seconds. So I can put it anywhere I want to in the video. I love this strategy right there. You'll notice the learner submitted their response right here about caffeine in this case. And then you see this yellow bar right here. That's actually a criteria for success. So I know that's one thing, one strategy I always try to allude to. And so instead of having learners check responses based upon an answer, like give them like, hey, here is using this skill. Here are the things that we need to list, or these are the things that we need to make sure we've completed in our process. And so there's that criteria for success right there of what's the expectation behind the problem. If my learners didn't meet that expectation, they'd have the ability to actually retake that problem and be informed in there. So I really like how interactive video can create an informed experience for learners. Here we have our another checkpoint. This is actually our fill in the blank answer. So back to vocabulary words, fill in the blank and closed activities are always a great way to address kind of retention or comprehension of different things. And so here, um, this instructor included this fill in the blank table. You'll notice, and I get this question a lot, is like, hey, can I put a fill in the blank in anywhere in the sentence or paragraph? And the answer is yes. Like here you can see it is in the middle of a sentence, it's in the middle of a list. And so interactivity gives you a lot of choice in what you can do. We also have a ton of templates that you can utilize in order to be able to create problems just like that, very simply. The last thing I want to show you is this. You see our learners clicking our View My Results tab. And this is, again, I have a lot of favorites, but this is also really cool. This is the exportable worksheet that your learner can jump into at the end of the problem. You'll notice it's giving the learner kind of a receipt of all their answers that they have had. And so it's a great way to review. You can share this with parents as well if you would like. You'll notice at the very bottom, it has learner notes. And so this is also one of the ways that you can export learner notes. And so the learner can come back, see this exportable worksheet. So maybe instead of clicking into the whole video itself, you have that digestible content ready to go. All right, so that is a little bit about our interactive video lesson. I'm going to go to our next use case right here, which is a discussion bulb. You all know that I was an ELA teacher. I mentioned a little bit earlier in the session. I really like the fact that interactivity also allows your learners to engage in collaborative ways, like a discussion interaction. And so here we have this poem, this Langston Hughes poem. At the very beginning, we have just a short little about Langston Hughes that you can read, a little context. In the background, you can read the actual text that's happening. So for example, this is just a short YouTube video of the reading, but you can do a read aloud, and that's actually going to be one of our examples here in a little bit. So learners can engage with that. They can hear you reading the actual text, but then you can ask them important questions behind it. And so right here, we have, what does the author mean by a dream deferred? So learners are asking, some higher level questions right there. One of the things that's built in here, you see that linked deferred. Deferred is linked. And so that might, again, be something, hey, my students might not know what deferred means. And that's essential for knowing this question and learning, like performing the skill of this question. I can actually link in a definition for deferred for my students to reference. And they would just be, it would be a direct link for them right within the interactive video. So here, my learner is going to write out their short explanation for that question. Here again, we see the learner engaging in that question. One of the nice things as well that you can do is you can actually import or you can add into the interactive video a website. So on the right is the actual text for this particular poem. We also have a PDF interaction. So if you want to bring up that PDF while they're answering the question, that is something that you can do. And then my final portion right here. So in this lesson, we had our students answer some questions, some open-ended questions on their own to maybe dive into this ultimate question, which is, what is the theme of the poem? Which is, a more complicated question when you're talking about ELA. And then when you're inside this poem, or when you're inside of this discussion forum, learners are going to submit their response and then have to justify that with their classroom, and also react to their classmates within the classroom. And so here, this learner is writing out their theme. They'll submit that. You'll see that you can actually reply to the comments inside the thread right here. So here they are putting, why they agree with that statement. So here you can see this interactive video not only is asking our learners some of the deeper questions that's necessary for attaining that skill, but as well, we're building things like classroom communities where learners are learning from each other and also justifying, which is super important practice in when we're thinking about 21st century skills. And so that was the final use case that I'm going to share with you today. What I'm going to go into next is actually talking about how do we build an interactive video with WeVideo. And so first and foremost, here is the tutorial that I'm going to go through. I like to show the process of these steps. I know I showed a simplified version, but here's kind of the step-by-step, which we are going to run through together today. And so to start, I'm going to go to wevideo.com. And at wevideo.com, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to classes, and I'm going to create a new class. And so one of the nice things about interactivity is it's synced with your classes that you use in the multimedia creation space. So I'm just going to use I'm going to create a class. It's going to be Ryan's AI class 1024. Here is my classroom that I have. When I'm inside my classroom, if I want to invite learners, I can import learners from Google Classroom. I could share an invite code like this if I wanted to invite students to it. So I could copy an invite link if I want them for any new WeVideo licensees, so any new users, or I can copy the code to join the class right here if they already have a WeVideo account. But setting up this class is going to give your learners the space where they can access your interactive videos that you are going to use. And so that's my first step, is I'm going to use that class, create that class. Now, one of the next features that I want to show you right here. Today, I'm actually going to be using a WeVideo creation. And so I wanted to just show you kind of this seamless experience that WeVideo has. So I'm actually going to be using a project that I have created. So I have this project right here. It's called Read Aloud. With this project, I've been creating this. I created this Read Aloud, this specific edit, for some time, and I've exported this particular project. So if I wanted to go in and edit, I could. I just want to highlight the fact that WeVideo is a really awesome space for creating short screencasts. So for this particular project, you'll notice I have just a short introduction using some stock media. Then all I did was I had a screencast. So here you can see me reading a book to my learners. And so the screencast, again, this took me about 8 minutes to read the section that I wanted to, but you can imagine that kind of engagement that my learners are going to have. When I'm ready and finished with the project, I would go to export that project and send it and finish the project. So that way I'm able to have an interactive video. I'm going to show you kind of that final export right here. So here's my final export. One of the things that I need to make sure that I have is the subtitles. So WeVideo actually generates subtitles for you. Now I'm going to want to use this for AI interactions here in a second. And so with that, I grabbed this. I made sure that my subtitles were generated inside here. I then just wanted to, so I grabbed those subtitles right there. So that way, now I can actually run that through our AI generator here in a few moments. But I just wanted to show you some of the stops on this WeVideo journey. So again, like I can use a WeVideo project to teach. It's pretty easy to use that WeVideo project to teach. I love the fact that I could do front-facing camera. I could also do screen recordings, as I showed you all with the math problem earlier. Um, but that's an essential key, or that's an essential point right here, is getting that content. Um, when I'm ready to actually create an interactive video, there's a couple of ways that I can do it. So um, one of the ways you will see is on this export page, I can actually click and add and open it into interactive video. So I'm actually going to open that just so I can show you a little bit of that process. So I can open that, and just like that, it enters us into that WeVideo interactive video studio. I also want to show you the other way that you can get to our WeVideo interactivity page, which is just through our drop down here. So here is, if I go to multimedia creation, click the drop down, here's interactivity, and here is our interactivity page. And if I want to create an interactive video here, I'm going to select create new bulb, and it will enter us into that page. Now, the difference between these two things is I might generally use this workflow if I wanted to use a YouTube or Vimeo video. Today, I want to show you using the power of your own creations. And so I just went straight to the interactive dashboard. So that is some of the things that just to know right there. If I am creating YouTube, Vimeo, or even selecting a video here, when I select it, I'm going to be able to either input a URL for that video on YouTube, or I can search all of YouTube for that video. I can also go in here and search all of my WeVideo exports. So if I wanted to, I could go and find that that read aloud video for my creation. And those are some of the ways that I can create that video here on WeVideo Interactivity. Now, once I have that video selected, I'm just going to show you a little bit about that right here. So if I have this video, some of the things that I can do is I can pull in captions. So if it is a WeVideo creation, it should already have those captions attached to that video if you use that subtitle generator. If I ever wanted to adjust how much of the interactive video is going to play from the original, I can trim and crop that here on the screen. It's not going to do anything to the original video. This is only going to impact how this plays within our interactivity stage. But I can do that, and once I'm ready to go, I'd click done, and we would be able to get into the fun part, which is to create interactions. So breaking down a little bit where we're at on our journey. So we created a class. I showed you 2 steps on how to get to interactivity. So one, you can go to your exports page, you can click open interactivity and send it to interactivity, and it'll open it up just like that. Then it sends us to create that interactive video. So I showed you the workflow of how we can go to interactivity, the interactivity page, create a new bulb, and get to that same screen. If you had a WeVideo video, it's already going to be inside there if you used it from the export page. If not, you can always go and select your video. But then from there, we get into, again, the fun part, which is adding interactions to that video. So I'm going to go back to my screen right here. Now, one of the nice things, as I said, is that we have these VTT files. I'm just double checking to make sure that VTT file is in here. Here I actually uploaded that to it. So if I didn't have captions, if I had the captions available, I can add them right there. So I added those captions. One of the nice things about when you add captions to that video is you can utilize that AI interaction tool, which we'll get to in just a second. I'm going to click on interactions right here. To start, I'm just going to start really basic with framing the lesson. And so you saw that a lot of our videos had some short directions and some of the objectives that we are hoping to achieve. So I'm going to go here in questions, and I'm going to go down here to I I'm going to go down here to this pause interaction. And then with my pause interaction, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some text. So here is my text. One of the nice things about this is I can edit and add. I can edit and add any of the adjustments that I would like inside here. So if I would like my content to have headers, I can. If not, I can always remove that. One of the pro tips that I like here is I actually use a doc for some editing if I want to. Although I can just edit some of the interactivity that's already in there as we're going through. But all that to say is we have this rich text editor. Some of the cool things about the rich text editor is we can add things like images. So right here, I'm going to click on insert. I'm going to click on image. And so for this, I'm just going to add a little bit of context by grabbing a quick image. So here I see the insert edit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click upload. I'm going to drag in an image like this. It might take just a second, but there we go. Like I can add in an image of the book. This book's about Lonnie Johnson. I could add in some details about Lonnie Johnson as we're going through. But I like to frame our lesson using that pause interaction. I like to add rich text, so whether it's headings or bold fonts, things of that nature, whether it's a list, you have all those capabilities right here. When I am done with that, I'm going to click save. And so I have my interaction right there. Now is going to be the exciting time where I'm going to utilize our AI interaction tool. So I'm going to go to about 1 minute and 15 seconds right here. I'm going to click on generate interactions. And here you'll see I have some choices. So my first choice is whether I want to have interactions generated throughout the entire video. So it will generate different interactions, or if I want it at a specific time. In this case, I'm just going to go for the specific time that I selected. And so you'll see here, there's my time. I will have my choice. So here is that auto-generated video caption file that was pulled in. And so it's going to use that. I also had my backup right here, which I showed you how to upload. So here's my video auto-generated captions. It's going to use that to make the question. I want them to use just an understanding question right here. It's really early in the lesson. And then I just want a multiple choice right now. But when I'm ready to generate that interaction, I'm going to click on this button right here. And it's going to give me a short message that's it might take a second because it is using an AI tool to generate that interaction. And in just a moment, it's going to bring up our first multiple choice question. So right here, we have our AI generated question. And it's asking, an understanding question, like why did Lonnie build his own robot named Linux? And here are my choices. And so it's going to bring up some relevant choices. One of the nice things about this is, I can edit if I want. Like, let's say I wanted a hint, like, remember to think about his motivations. I could add that in there. I'm going to show you a little bit more with the rich text. If I wanted to add content, if I wanted to make this read for my learners or give the learners the ability to listen to it, I could do this. I could click this record button for audio. I'm going to read it real quick. Why did Lonnie build his own robot named Linux? I'm going to submit that. And so I can add some rich text to inspire it. So even though this is an AI generated question, it's a really great starting block for getting into and developing, even more engaging and comprehensive questions. And so I like that. If I want to as well, I could update the complexity and have it reboot. I could change the interaction type. Maybe we'll try that in a little bit. But I just wanted to show you the AI generated interactions. I'm going to click save right there. And we have our first AI generated interaction. Again, like this doesn't, it can be a mix of AI generation, right? Like maybe I have a standards based question that I already have ready to go, which I do. And so I'm going to take, here's my scrub bar in the bottom. I'm going to take my timestamp. I'm going to go to 1 minute and 52 seconds. I'm going to add another multiple choice question. And so this time I'm just going to select create new interaction. Then I'm going to ask this question here. So what is Lonnie's dream? And I'm going to put in these answer choices. And creating the interaction is pretty simple. To add a new option, I just click add option. I'm copying and pasting in my question that I had. To mark the question the correct answer, I'm going to just select that button right there. Now, if I wanted to add in feedback, so let's say I want some more context for what an engineer is, I can use this feedback function. So all I did was click on this settings cog right here. I clicked in add feedback. And then right here, like here I can post, check out this article about what an engineer is. And so my learners would have that resource. They could explore a little bit more about Lonnie and what he does. And so that is one thing that I did here, or that is how I can add in feedback for my learners. While I'm in here, I also want to show you some more advanced options that you have. So just a note, when you're creating, everything that is placed inside the video is going to be placed on the left-hand side of the screen. If I ever want to adjust that and let's say have it be over a portion or the whole screen, I can always do that right here. And now it would be placed right in the middle of the screen when that question happens. So I like doing that when my learners need a little bit more focus maybe on the question, or I don't like, maybe my face is goofy or something and I don't want them to distract what the actual question is. I might put it over the screen just to focus. And so interactivity gives you some choices there. Again, you can keep it really simple, right? Like I have this question, I just want to ask it. I know that's going to be engaging. Go ahead, that's cool. I do that all the time when working within our platform. But I also just wanted to say, like, hey, like you have options as well within your interactions. I'm also going to click on this advanced tab as well. So you'll notice that there's a few different ways that we can add to this problem, add to the functionality of it. So if I wanted to randomize the order of the questions, I can do that here. If I wanted to allow more than one attempt, let's say I want my students to try a couple times before getting their answer, I can do that right here. I can even conceal whether or not the answer is correct or incorrect. If I wanted to be a little bit more reserved about it, it is all available right here within our designer. So those are some cool nuggets of what you can do to use advanced settings. I want to make sure that I'm getting you all some more exposure to some of the other cool interactions that we have within the platform. So I'm going to take my scrub bar and I'm going to go to 2 minutes and 39 seconds. When I'm at 2 minutes and 39 seconds, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another interaction. I promised you all that we would go over the fill in the blank question. And so I'm going to simply select this interaction type. I'm going to go to fill in the blank. Here, I'm going to insert a phrase. So Lonnie created a blank name Linux. Then I'm going to have our fill in the blank. I'm going to click on fill in the blank right there. You can also click add option. But in order to get that answer into the platform, I'm going to simply put robot right there. I'm going to press enter. And just like that, when my learners choose robots or my learners type in robots, it will be automatically graded for them. One of the nice things too is you can actually put in misspellings. So if I want to put reboot, Here's reboot, because I know maybe my learners will do that. It would be auto-graded at that portion as well. So those are some time-saving tips right there within the platform. From there, I'm going to click Save. And we've just generated another interaction. Again, if I wanted to, let's say I'm going down here to 6 minutes. Let's do another AI generated interaction because they are so fun. Let's say I want to analyze. Again, let's maybe do another question type. So I want a free response. I want it to happen at that specific time. Let's click generate that interaction. And just like that, we have our generated interaction to analyze right there. And just like that, that is how we can use that AI generated interaction. It is really great. If I ever need to refresh, like, hey, maybe that wasn't the question that I'd like. What I can do is I can regenerate it. So I regenerated that. And so what I'm going to do is click that. That looks like a little bit better question for what I'm trying to get out of this lesson. But that is generating AI interactions. I know at the very beginning of the video, we showed you how to build in that resource of using that pause interaction. I'm going to take my scrub bar all the way to the very end of the video. And I want to give my learners some resources to go and use at the very end of the video. So I'm again going to create a new interaction right there. This time, I'm going to use a web embed. So I'm going to use a web link. With that, I'm going to have a Nat Geo article that talks about engineering and some different technology that they can have. I'll know that my web link is working if it gives me a little preview screen right here. Now, I showed you that tip earlier of the placement. I generally like the websites being on top of the whole screen, but you can have it on the sidebar if you like to. And if you want it, you just go to placement, use that drop down, choose the middle of the screen, just like so. But now they'll be able to see a little bit of that website and see some of the resource about engineers and learn even more and connect to this subject. So one of the nice things just to remember is a lot of the links that have HTTPS will work within our link system. Some websites, unfortunately, do not work, and that's because of the website securities that they have put up. So just some things to note if you're using a web embed. I love it. Like you can see resources like Nat Geo work in that web embed. If they don't work in that web embed, you can definitely use our rich text editor to share a link like we did right here. So you can share a link and that will be another way to get your learners to that page. So there are ways to work through that. But I just wanted to share some of the strategy behind the web embed function. All right, so we have this interactive video that was created from a screencast. Here, we jumped in and we built a few different interactions today, some generated by our AI tool, which used our transcript of our video, which is automatically pulled into the video. As well, we added some of our own questions that were from our curriculum unit. Now, I'm going to go into the final stages of finalizing this video. And so here I have my video title. Maybe this is like Module 1, Lesson 1, Engineers and Themes. And so I can title my video like that. We also have a tagging function. So if it is in Module 1, I can actually create a tag called Module 1. Then in my library, I can actually go and pull by that tag. If I also have like, if this is like, this would probably be a 5th grade ELA read aloud. And so I added that right there, 5th grade ELA. You can also have a target audience if you'd like, and choose a subject area if you would like as well. So this one is particularly language arts or English. So I added that right there. Last bits. So I mentioned throughout this session today that interactivity generally does not allow fast forwarding. So out of the box, it does not allow it. But if you ever feel like your students need to fast forward, you can allow them using these playback options here. You can also use things like retakes in here. You can toggle that printable report I showed earlier in here. You can allow learners to increase their playback speed. You can even allow or have learners need to meet a minimum completion score before marking that bulb complete. And so learners would be asked to retake the bulb, say if they didn't meet 80% inside of this bulb. We also have privacy settings. So interactivity is releasing a pre-made bulb library. And with that pre-made bulb library, you can allow these to be visible to members of your school. So if you share on Teams, like that's a really great way to share because good teaching is sometimes also good sharing. So with that, we've created our interactive video using AI interactions. Let me tour you through how we put this into action. So we used AI, we added interactions, we used resources to embed, we published this. Now let's go and actually assign this bulb. And that's actually going to be here on this next screen after you click save. So right here, we have our selection screen. So here is our bulb. I can even go in and adjust settings on that bulb if I need to from the last screen. Let's say I need to come back or do something. From there, you can have a start date. So I want it to be live today for my students. If I want to cut that off and say, hey, you have until the end of November to finish this read aloud, I can set that right there. You don't have to set that. If I just want it open for however long, I can have that. But then you can see select classes. There is my AI class that I created today. And that I could also create a new class right here. But when I add that to the class and I have all these details set, I can then click assign and it's going to be added to my class. And so I can jump in here. It'll give me the opportunity to jump in here. This is my interactivity page. Here is my class on the interactivity page. I have an entire gradebook of items. It'll show me gradebook, learners, all of that. This is where I can check the progress for my learners. It is also where I can go and say monitor the progress within a bulb, which I'll show you a little bit more about here in a few steps. I just wanted to show you where that ended up inside of our classes. So let's get into it and show you a little bit about some of the data and things that you see. So that's shared. So one of the ways that you can actually go in is you can go back to that My Bulbs page, and you can actually go to monitor that bulb here, and that will also get you to the gradebook. And here's a little bit about monitoring interactive videos. So in here, you're going to get a gradebook. In that gradebook, you're going to see some of the simpler things of, did my students complete this assignment? And you can filter out the progress students have made throughout that assignment. Some of the other things that you can dive into are our interaction data. So if you had open-ended questions, here's where you can actually go and grade all of those interactions. And as you're going through that process. You can also go in and download this gradebook too. If some of these insights aren't necessarily what you're looking for and you want to piece it together, you can use that little cloud in the right-hand corner of your data monitoring page. You can also go in and zoom on a learner attempt. And so here, I'm clicking on Barry's results. And with Barry, you can go and view that learner attempt and see how exactly they did. We also have a category called bulb analytics. So that's going to show you your overall score within the bulb, and that's going to be in that left-hand corner. So here you can see it's going to give me question by question analysis, as well as the completion statuses for everybody in here. And so that's a really good at a glance. I know that I would use that at a glance when I am giving instruction. So with that, let's go into our last bit of our session today. And so I want you to know that we have a ton of resources available to you, primarily in we have consolidated these into what we call our Wakelet collection. And inside this Wakelet collection, you'll have access to webinars like the webinar that we have today, as well as our Interactivity Academy, and even some of our interactive certified courses, as well as some of our infographics that we have for you. So definitely check out that Wakelet collection if you have not already. There's a ton of resources from instructional videos, and again, to webinars that we have for you. We also have our WeVideo Academy, which is a great way to get started on anything WeVideo. Again, these videos are just under 3 minutes long per video, and show everything in the WeVideo platform, from creating content to creating interactive videos. We also have a getting started with WeVideo interactivity playlist. This is really awesome. It gives you a step-by-step, kind of like what you got today, but you can piece it out at your own time and place. So if you wanted to get granular and figure out a little bit of the details from our session, that's a really great resource as well. Last but not least, we have our support page, which has help articles around all things WeVideo. I find this really helpful on a day-to-day basis for figuring out the ins and outs behind use cases. So definitely check out our support page as well. With that, this is the end of our session today. I just want to look at the chat. Some of the questions that we have had inside the chat are, hey, are we going to get a recording for that? And the answer is yes, you will get a follow-up recording for this, which will also include some of the resources that I've shared today. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to success@wevideo.com. And with that, we can get you in touch with somebody from our customer success team who can talk a little bit about WeVideo interactivity with you. But I really appreciate you all spending this time with us today. I hope that you have had some fun looking into what WeVideo interactions can do for you, and AI generated interactions can hopefully, and how they can hopefully streamline some of the things that you do. I know that I always am pretty amazed at how in-depth some of those questions can be. If you do have any questions, let us know. If not, I hope you all have a great rest of your day and take care. Until next time.